as it was then. It is not difficult to imagine the arguments some of President Bush's advisers might make in seeking to persuade him. We suffered the September 11th attacks because President Clinton was not bold enough to crush a growing threat, they would say. So let's be real men and crush the threat that's emerging now, rather than leave it to the next administration. Why attack Iran? Those who favor the idea offer a variety of answers. Iran must not be allowed to become a nuclear power. Iran poses an existential threat to Israel. Iran is the heart of an emerging Shiite crescent that destabilizes the Middle East. Iran supports radical groups in nearby countries. Iran is helping to kill American soldiers in Iraq. Iran has ordered terror attacks in foreign countries. Iran's people are oppressed and need Americans to liberate them. There is also a geopolitical argument for attacking Iran. Since the beginning of the Cold War era, the United States has used one country in the Middle East as a platform from which to project power across the region. For a quarter century, it was the Shah's Iran. Now it is Saudi Arabia, but prospects for long-term stability there are uncertain. The fantasy that Iraq would become America's key regional ally after a U.S. invasion has dissipated. Some in Washington have a new one, that when the dust clears after an American attack on Iran, it will be stable and friendly to the United States. The most obvious reason for attacking Iran would be to win access to its vast oil supply. When Winston Churchill helped to seize Iran's oil industry in the 1920s, he called it a prize from fairyland beyond our wildest dreams. It still is. Regardless of what policymakers in Washington or anywhere else may say, no country ever acts in Iran without thinking about its oil reserves. That is especially true of the Bush administration, which is more closely allied with the oil industry than any other administration in American history. President Bush and those around him may have other reasons to feel tempted by the idea of invading Iran. Some believe, against all evidence, that the key to victory in Iraq is crushing the regime in Iran. Bush himself has said several times that he expects history to absolve him, an argument that can be used to justify even the craziest presidential decisions. Beneath these arguments lies another, more diffuse impulse. American leaders, emphatically including President Bush himself, believe that since the United States is a great power, it has the right and responsibility to act dramatically whenever trouble emerges anywhere in the world. This impulse dates at least to the age of Thucydides, who wrote that nations have an innate compulsion to rule when empowered. More recently, in a study of the Spanish-American War that holds great relevance for today, the British historian Joseph Smith wrote that America's eagerness to attack foreign lands stems from an aggressive national egoism and a romantic attachment to national power. Some in Washington believe that invading, overthrowing, and occupying are simply what great nations do. Otherwise, they argue, there is no point in having power. At this moment in history, if there's a problem, we're expected to deal with it, President Bush said before launching the invasion of Iraq. By his standards, Iran has certainly become a problem. That suggests he may decide to order an attack in order to deal with it. Before great powers take far-reaching decisions that can reshape the world, their leaders normally consider the lessons of history. Any serious discussion about modern Iran, and certainly any debate about whether the United States should intervene there, must include an assessment of what happened after the last intervention. In 1950,
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.